And joining us from what looked like a beautiful golf course somewhere to the south of us, Mike Dunleavy Sr. joins the show. 11 years in the league, 17 years as a coach, including Coach of the Year, 7 years as an exec. First of all, thank you for taking the time. You look like you're already out there ready to go. Is that what's about to happen?
I'm ready for sure.
He's going right to the pickleball court as soon as this interview is over.
Pickleball and golf. Who are
exactly
you guys
right.
these days? All right, we spent a lot of time talking about coaches this year. We got JJ as a first-time coach. We just got off a story of Doug Christie replacing a coach mid-season, all the weirdness that comes with that. You stepped into a coaching position after none other than Pat Riley. So I have to wonder, was that an awkward feeling, an exciting feeling? Like, what was that like?
Oh, it was a very exciting feeling. I had spent 3 years as an assistant with the Milwaukee Bucks, and then, right time, right place. I had 3 offers in the same year, for a head coaching job, and without question, the best idea is to take the most talent, which the Lakers I felt like had, and came into a situation where a little bit of change in style in the sense that from the way I had coaching staffs and how I played, a lot more rotating defenses, half-court defenses, and something we had to work on through training camp and then start the season. And crazy part about it was we started off, I think, like 0-4, and we're getting better in my mind. But after that game at home, I think it was like a 1-point loss to Phoenix. I came in and just talked to the players and said, okay, the media is going to come in loaded for bear, and they're going to look, try and create some controversy. And you know what? I mean, I'm the lightning rod for this. We've been together 6 weeks. If you don't think I work my butt off and that I know what I'm talking about, then, you could bury me. I mean, but I see us really improving in the areas that I'm looking for improvement, and feel very confident about how good we're going to be. So right after that, the ball boy comes and says, "Hey, Coach, Dr. Buss would like to talk to you in his office." I said, "Okay." So I go down to his office, and Dr. Buss says to me, he goes, "Mike, sit down. 6 weeks ago in training camp in Hawaii, we, after hiring you, we thought we were some of the smartest guys around. Do you know what we think now?" I said, "No, sir, I don't, but I think you're getting ready to tell me." He goes, we think we're some of the smartest people around, and I don't want you to change anything. And I said to him, "Dr. Buss, I mean, there could be no finer words said to by an owner to a coach, but I was never changing. I've got this. I spent 3 years as an assistant, and I won't go into the name, but after my first year as an assistant, a former teammate of mine offered me the head coaching job of an NBA team, and I turned him down. He said, "You're turning me down?" I said, "Yeah. I mean, if you put a gun in my head, I think I can do it. But I like to sweep the floors and really look under everything. And if you like me now, you're gonna like me a year from now or 2 years from now." And he says, "Well, how about coming on my staff?" I said, "Well, are you going to tell the current head coach that he's keeping my seat warm for me?" And he was like, "No." I'm like, "Well, I can't do that." But 2 more years later, I was ready for the Laker job, and that's kind of one of the things. If I had waited those 2 years, then I might have reverted back and said, "Hey, oh my gosh, what did Pat do last year? Like, what could I do? Or should I change it back to something they're comfortable with?" And it worked out very well for us. We lost in the finals that year to the Chicago Bulls. So there's a lot to be said for all the kind of things you guys have been talking about, and what kind of a situation you walked into, and really the confidence that you have in your message, and being able to stick to your guns. I think and basically really comes down to communication with your players and them understanding like why you're doing something, when you do it and why you're doing it. And always the other thing, because I was so fortunate as a player with the coaches that I played for, like I could go into a huddle and say like, "Okay, I don't think we should do that," and they would agree with me at times, and so like it was just that comfort zone. So I had that with, always told my players, "Hey, look, if you've got something," and I would always say, "Anybody have anything else on this?" Or if I had a matchup and a player would come to me and says, Coach, I want to guard so-and-so. I would always give him that shot because, it's really what you're believing in. If you think you can guard this guy, even though obviously maybe I didn't think so because of the matchup, I give the guy a go because I know he's putting himself on the line, and therefore I know I'm going to get maximum effort. And hey, we'll just see.
So you never had doubts. Like you look in that huddle, you see like the one-name superstars of the league, and you're like, God, maybe I shouldn't tell him what to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I felt like, hey, I'm the one studying my butt off. Like I'm the one that knows every play that comes out of the point guard's mouth or the coach's mouth. I mean, they don't have to study that. I mean, ours was in a numbering system where I could translate to them exactly what was going to happen at the defensive end of the floor. And I think that, I always felt like from an IQ standpoint, I would tell people, if you give me a play or a situation, if I don't have an answer in under 5 seconds, I'd shoot myself.
Jeez. Okay. So it's like JJ Redick. I feel like he's like this. Well done. Chandler, I know you're feeling something. Go.
You know what, Coach? I'm going to go rogue here. Like all the coaches, the hiring and firing now in the NBA. Do you think what is the reasoning for that? It's just a players' league now. Do you think teams just move like the Mike Brown thing? Do you think they move off too quickly? Is it when the team wins, the players get praised? When the team loses, the coaches get fired? Like, how do you how do you change that?
It's kind of always been that way in a sense. I think, look, from whatever period, like, when I was a rookie in, 76, 77, there are certain guys that, are bulletproof or G'd up or whatever your term is for, hey, that dude's going nowhere. I'm going before that guy goes. But, in a lot of cases, depending how far you're into your tenure and how well you're doing, clearly that happens in our league. So it's got to be a situation where you manage it. And I think one of the very key things for a head coach is to, be on the same page with his team, especially his best players. Always keep them engaged. I won't go into a name here either, but I had a former teammate of mine who was a coach in the NBA, and I traded for a player that he had coached the year before, and we played them in a game and we beat them, and we're walking up the court together, and he says to me, he goes, I got to ask you one question. I said, sure. He goes, that guy, does he question everything you do? And I said, no, he doesn't, because every time I finish, I make him sign off on what I'm doing. I don't want to hear after the fact in the locker room, oh, that was coach's decision. Like, if you know that, you like say, hey, this is what we're doing. You good with that? If you're not, let's know it now. So you have to be aware. And I was very fortunate. Most of the time, my star players were, and the best thing you could ever have as a coach and as a player teammate is when your best player is like your hardest working guy. Magic Johnson, as a rookie head coach with the Lakers, like Jerry Westwood, he'd get on me some. He said, Mike, dude, you had the game won. You didn't have to play Magic that extra 2 or 3 minutes. I said, Jerry, I don't have that game won. I'm a rookie. I got to bank wins. Like I'm waiting. Yeah, okay, but I'm going to give the guy off in practice. And I would say to Irvin, I said next morning, I said, Irvin, I played you 38 or 39 last night. Like, why don't you just go sit out? He looked me in the eye and he would say, Coach, if I sit out, then the rest of these guys think they got the day off too. I mean, and that's when I played, the last team I played for the Milwaukee Bucks started with Sidney Moncrief, Defensive Player of the Year. They're all the same guys. Magic, I played pickup with Magic in the off seasons. I mean, we could be playing for $2 or $2 million. I mean, he's going for the jugular. He wants to win every single game he plays. And, to me, when people talk about, I was, an executive in my time as a general, most of the time I was coach and general manager, but I picked 6 NBA All-Stars, a 6th Man of the Year in Eric Gordon, and Sean Livingston, who I think would have been an All-Star had he not, blown his knee out the way he did. And to me, the first thing I always look for is, I'm like, please tell me this guy's a gym rat. I just want somebody that loves to play the game, because once you have that, you can work around everything else.
Yeah. Coach, you brought up Magic in 1991 finals. MJ versus Magic. What do you remember most about that legendary series?
The worst part was James Worthy getting injured we won game 1 on a Sam Perkins 3-pointer in Chicago. We felt really good about our chances there. And then James, because, obviously Hall of Famer, averages over 20 a game, but at 6'9", played with Michael at North Carolina, was not intimidated by him at all. And he was our guy to defend him. And so when James went out, then they were able to just rotate guys on Magic, pick him up full court, try to wear him down. That game, and we had a game at home, so 1-1 going back home. And last possession of the game, full court, to take a timeout. Phil never likes to advance the ball. I think they had like 8 seconds in a timeout. I circle a spot on the right side of the top of the key. I said, look, this is where Jordan's going to shoot the ball. And the first thing we tried to do, I said, look, don't let him get the first catch. Make them have to find him with a second catch for time. Unfortunately, he gets the first catch and then literally shoots it from that spot and probably centimeters over the fingertips of Vlade Divac to make the shot to kind of win the game, which, that was a little bit of a dagger. We're looking to, squeeze one out. Then we had a couple of other guys get injured, and we had a Tony Smith, who's a rookie that I saw when I was in Milwaukee. It's, played pickup with them all the time at Marquette. And we drafted him, and he stepped in, and he did a great job, even, even like in game 5 to keep us in a game to have a chance. But, Michael's Michael. I mean, obviously, in my mind, the best player to ever play. And the most, other than Michael and then maybe Kobe, the next, like as far as competitors, workers, both those guys, I don't know how they did it. 5 a.m. in the morning, they're up there. They were, basically from a work ethic standpoint, they were at the top of the list.
Yeah. Well,
Coach, I was going to ask you about MJ and his greatness. You spoke to how great he was. Did you see it at that time? And what was it like trying to game plan for him at that time early on in his career?
Well, first of all, I played against them. And unfortunately, you can't see my phone because I had this great shot. People ask me the same question. I said, let me show you the first time I ever met Michael. And it's a centerfold of him with the USA Olympic team. And it was a turnover. The ball gets thrown down to the left corner. And he's going from the left corner into the basket. And I'm at half court. And I'm just hustling. I'm just going after the play. I'm like, no chance I'm getting this play. And all of a sudden, he goes up and I'm going up. And I take a swing at the ball. And for people who watched him play a lot, he put the ball in front of his face. And then he would rock it to dunk it. Well, when the ball was right in front of his face, that's when I swung. And that's when he moved the ball. So I have my full hand going through his face, and I tried to catch him on the way down. He wanted to fight when he got, and I said, "Look, dude, I try to catch you. I get why you want to fight." And so that was our first meeting. And matter of fact, that playing down at the Grove 23, his golf course, and I was going ready to go up one. He's coming up 18, and he's coming up. I said, "Mike, dude, the guard at the gate, he wouldn't let me in." I said, Michael Jordan's a friend of mine. And he said, "You don't know Michael Jordan." I showed Mike the picture. I said, "Mike," I told him, "Look, here's the first time I met the guy." And then he hit me in the head, and we went on. But the next time I played against him was game 2 of his career in Milwaukee. So, and I was starting, but at this time I spent a second quarter, and I'm on the bench. I'm sitting next to a guy named Kevin Greavy, and Mike gets a breakaway, and he takes off his foot straddles the free throw line, and he takes off. And I go to Greavy. That's his first mistake. And he just kept going. He punched it. I think he had 22, 23 that game. We won. But then game 3, we go up to Chicago and play there. And I think we're up 14 going into the fourth quarter. And Sidney Moncrief, Defensive Player of the Year, is playing against Mike, defending him. And they go to a 1-4 flat in the fourth quarter, and he starts going to work. Well, he's putting numbers on Sid. So now I'm coming off the corner to double team him. He only goes for 23 in the fourth quarter to beat us by 1, I think, and he get a total of 37. At that point, I knew how good he was.
Yeesh.
Jeez.
Coach, you also coached the Trailblazers from 97 to 2001. Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, Rick Brunson, Isaiah Ryder, Jermaine O'Neal, Bonzi Wells. Like, that's an eclectic group there. What was that like?
Well, it started out more eclectic. I think if you remember, we were called the JAILBLAZERs.
That's right. That's right.
And I went in there and you know, we started out and Bob Whitson was our general manager. And I said to him, I said, look, Bob, you guys haven't been out of the first round of the playoffs in 5 years. And I said, you know what? Because I feel like you win with character. 82 games is a really long season. And so, you got to have guys, like I said, they're gym rats. They love to play. You know, it's not going to be a drudgery for them. When they get down, they stay down. I want guys that are always going to be fighting. Hey, look, we next play. Let's get next play. We play better. We improve. There's always something in front of us. And so I told Bob, look, I'm going to get, at the risk of losing some games, I'm getting these guys numbers so that we can trade them. Just don't fall back in love with them when these numbers start popping up. And you know, ultimately we got that team that with Steve Smith and Damon and the guys you described. You know, we had a great run. We had a tough one. You know, we lost we down 3-1 to the Lakers, and in the Western Conference Finals took it back to a Game 7, and then we had a 14-point. Well, we might have had a 17-point lead then, but Brian Shore banks in a 3-pointer I think at the end of the quarter, make it 14, and they beat us. And kind of bothers me a little bit. Guys would always come up to me and goes, "Oh man, those guys choked." I said, "Well, depends what your definition of choking is." I said, because for me, choking is when, you miss free throws, you turn the ball over, you succumb to pressure. In reality, our team, that game, one of the best games I've seen it a number of times. We had one turnover in the fourth quarter, and we had one missed defensive assignment. When Rasheed Wallace came back again, he missed a rotation out to a corner three by, I think it might have been Rick Fox. But the biggest part about it for me was we missed 13 straight shots. 11 of them were great, and 2 of them were good. One was by Scottie Pippen, like a 20-footer. He was a good shooter, but not a great shooter. So okay. And like I said, one turnover, and the 2 big scores in that game for us were, I think Rasheed had 30 and Steve Smith had 28. Of the 13 shots, those guys missed 4 apiece. And so I said, it was just one of those things where the ball didn't go after executing and getting great shots. The ball didn't go. And yeah, clearly it was disappointing. It would have been, the greatest thing ever for you to be able to come back from 3-1 and, with them having home court advantage to come back and beat them in their building. But they were a good, fun group. There's a lot said about, Rasheed. I mean, he set the world record for technical fouls under my tenure. I think it was 41. And it was like, I was always, kind of on him in a sense like, all right, dude, I can live with 1. Just don't get 2. Just don't get thrown out of the game. And he's got the famous, people quote him all the time, "Ball don't lie." That was his thing. I was like, it wasn't me. I didn't foul him. I didn't do this. And the guy missed the free throw. Ball don't lie.
You got teed up for that before.
Yeah, matter of fact, he got teed up for stuff like I remember one. I won't even go into the refs' names, but walking at the end of a quarter, they teed him up for looking at him.
Yeah,
exactly. Just looking at. Wait, time out.
Ronnie.
He said, "Wait, you teed him up for what? What did he say to you?" He didn't say anything. Okay, he didn't say anything because he looked at you. Anyway,
I remember that Steve Smith walked up to the ref and was like, "Dude, he didn't even say anything. He literally got a tech for looking at a referee."
Yeah,
it's how he looked at him, guys.
It wasn't Joey Crawford. It was the guy Ron.
I was gonna say Joey Crawford does that too. That's kind of amazing, by the way. At that point, I got to ask you, because your son Mike Dunleavy Jr. is obviously an executive with the Warriors. We want to know everything he's got planned. What trades he's looking at coming up.
He's going to trade for Schroeder.
Oh, yeah, great. Okay, good. He's keeping you up to date, I see. No, do you ever not talk basketball? Because I'd imagine, as Chandler has described his job right now, it's a very difficult job to be an executive with the Golden State Warriors, given the legacy and the empire that they've built. You've got Steph Curry for as long as you've got him. That window is what it is. So Do you see them as having a window still open? Is it as challenging as it seems to be from the outside looking in, that job?
Yeah, I think it. Well, first of all, I mean, he loves the job. He's been in the organization, loves the organization. I mean, like, you know, when he was, you know, when the job was open and he was this, you know, I mean, he says to me, I'm like, what, are you out of your mind? Yeah, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, thinking about what? I said, bottom line is, you have an owner. I mean, and this, again, this is my take. This is not his take. I judge him as in, okay, dude, you have an owner. I mean, people, and I was at press conferences and things where the press, I mean, I've heard Joe have to ask questions. Joe, are you going to, you know, have a lot of input into each one of these deals or this, that, or the other thing? And he's the owner of the team. He has the prerogative, you know, to be anything he wants. But I said to Mike, I said, you know, you have an owner who loves the game and is willing to spend whatever it takes. Oh my God. If you're going to be a general manager, just check that box off for me. You know, I mean, I had Donald Sterling, number one. And then, you know, then one of my other teams, the owner was a really nice man, but didn't want to spend money either. The two teams I had, obviously, that were willing to spend and accordingly we won, were Lakers and Trailblazers. And so, you know, it's like, that's the box you need to check. You're in a city that's a great city, you know, you have so much going for it, and you know you can get the job done. And I think that's the way he's looked at it. And I think that you're correct in saying, I mean, you know, their window of opportunity is as long as, you know, Steph is there doing what he's capable of doing. And you know, and Draymond, you know, when you look at a guy, and the first thing that comes to mind is glue. You know, I mean, the stuff that Draymond doesn't necessarily even show up in some of the you know, the stats. I mean, his passing ability, his defensive ability, he might be, and I've been around a long time, he might be the greatest closeout guy of all time. He can switch pick and rolls to a small or cover a guy all the way out to the corner and block shots or get things done and not get beat as good as anybody. And I think, you know, their numbers, you know, everybody, and I was always a big numbers guy. I mean, way back when I played, and I don't know if you could ever find it. There's a Sport Magazine article, probably around 82-ish, where basically I coined the phrase true shooting percentage because that's how I got paid. I was with the Rockets, and, you know, back then you kind of negotiated some of your own deals, and I was asking for whatever I was asking. Joe said, you know, you're good, and you shoot the ball pretty well, but not good enough to get paid that. I said, well, what would I have to shoot to get paid that? Oh, you'd have to shoot 52 from the field. And I said, okay, well, I'm like shooting 53 or 4. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, you know, take my 3-pointers makes divided by 2, add that to field goals made. That's my true shooting percentage is like 53 something. And at that point, I got paid. So,
Whoa.
So I've always been a stat guy for sure, but I'm also I'm kind of an art guy too. I mean, you know, coaching's, I love running into guys that I know exactly what they won coverage. That's what they're going to do. You know what? The stats say that on a high pick and roll, I leave my center back to guard the rim. I fight over the top of the screen. I play behind the shooter's head, try not to let him get a 3 off, drive him into a mid-range shot. Okay, I get that for sure. But what happens when I have Sam Cassell, who's a 90% free throw shooter, and you let him walk into a layup at the free throw line? Everything is about points per possession. So, okay, maybe he's not 90, but he's probably at least 70, 75. That's 1.4, 1.5 points per possession. Like, please stay in that all night. I'm going to run it 20 times in a row, and we'll see what happens.
Wow.
It's like some Rain Man stuff going on right now.
Right.
Chandler, do you guys play pickleball against each other, by the way?
We played
Chandler
yesterday.
and I, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we played yesterday.
Chandler's wife, Haley, and I, we lost to this dog yesterday, 11-9. I mean, I'm really disappointed. I think
They had a hell of a comeback. Well, Coach, I appreciate it, and I will see you up there in about 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we got
guys,
20
thank
minutes.
you. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Coach,
you.
thanks for coming on.
much.